Aloha kakahiaka. My name is Taisei, host of Taisei Discovers, here in studio with my brother Kenji from Kenji Walks. He's in production, and without him, none of this is possible. Together, we are Brotherly Time. Today's guest is a special person to me. I've actually known this man for a little over 6 years, and he's a man that wears many hats and is respected in many circles. He is a fisherman, a deep sea diver, a father, a husband. He's also a fish sommelier. For most of you who know, I'm an aspiring sommelier. Currently have my intro level certification. But he is a fish sommelier, so we're going to dig into some of that. He's also an MMA fighter and jiu-jitsu practitioner.
Just jiu-jitsu.
Huh?
Just my wife is an MMA fighter.
I thought you didn't fight MMA.
Nah, I never like get into that deep. But a lot of our family, though, her family,
Okay.
a lot of MMA.
Okay, so his wife is an MMA practitioner, and pretty much it's a family that you don't want to mess with. He has a second daughter on the way, and I want to dig into some of his origins. He comes from the way of Kauai, but resides here now on Oahu in Makakilo. Saui, Matagiese, welcome to Brotherly Time.
Thank you for having me.
You're welcome, brother. So, why do you think that you're here?
I don't know. I guess, like you said, many hats, right?
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people curious about those hats, and just kind of following the goal and what you guys do. I guess I fit into that vision, and I'm honored to be here as well and to be invited. So,
oh, absolutely, man. Ever since I first met you, I was like, "Oh, this guy is his physical stature is larger than a lot of people that I know. Like, you should be an offensive lineman or something like that." But you had this gentle spirit and this deep-rooted culture that I always respected, stood out to me. So, you know, in formulating our guest list, we cherry pick people that seem to be living their purpose, understanding who they are, and seem to have a greater mission. So that's you. First, let's talk about your origins in Kauai.
yeah, born and raised in Waimea, Kauai. Our backyard is a canyon. Grew up going to Waimea High School, played football there. Took my career to Portland State for a year, and then I came back home to UH, and then I graduated at the University of Hawaii. Played from 2010 to 2013. And then just trying to live the Hawaii dream, just, be as subsistence as I can, fishing, somewhat farming. I wish I could do more, but it is what it is. Doing the best with what we have. And then, one daughter, a beautiful wife, one more daughter on the way. Coming in March. Thank you.
That's number 2. Join the club, cuz.
The girl club.
Yes.
But I love it, though, other than that. That's just a little background. I do jiu-jitsu. I train at Gracie Ball. My wife is a former MMA fighter. She fought professionally, wrestled in college. Her family all fights. So it was kind of either get beat up by the family or figure out how to do something.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of how I got more into jiu-jitsu from that. Normally from her, actually.
Oh, wow. Oh, it's kind of interesting that your wife kind of inspired you to tackle that part of life. Self-defense, attrition, dedication, and I've seen you rolling, and actually you've done some pretty large events as well, and have done well. Yeah.
Fight to win, a few Nagas, a few other local tournaments. Still got the push from my team to try and do Worlds, so we'll see if that's in the cards for next year. Just
awesome.
Enjoying the ride.
Okay, so let's talk Kauai and your ethnicity, your background. You are Samoan, Hawaiian, and I just found out you're also Norwegian.
Yeah.
So how in touch are you with those ethnic groups?
Very much in touch. So I kind of was fortunate to grow up on both sides of the spectrum in Kauai. So my dad's sister, I know Sam Bastilos and Aaron. So Sam used to be a chef at Four Seasons, and then Aaron was a bartender. Still is a bartender.
That's your family?
Yeah, so that's my first cousin.
Okay.
So we're related on a Samoan side, which he's also Hawaiian as well, Hawaiian Filipino. And then his dad or his mom is my dad's brother, sister. And so I kind of got to grow up around the Samoan side as well as the Hawaiian side because of his dad. And then my side is all Hawaiian on my mom's side. And so kind of was fortunate to be raised in, I guess, what they call the Fa'a Samoa and the Hawaiian way. And so kind of take the best of both sides.
Both beautiful Pacifica Polynesian cultures that have some parallels in relationships, but also very different at the same time, yeah? What about the Norwegian part of Saui?
Yeah, so my mom is Hawaiian Norwegian. There's actually a big community of Hawaiian Norwegians on Kauai. My great-great-grandfather was full Norwegian, Axel Blackstead, married a little Hawaiian lady. And so that's kind of where the blend came from. And so my great-grandma is half Hawaiian, half Norwegian. And then there's a passage of when my great-great-grandfather came from Norway that's written in Norway's archives of the journey from Norway to Kauai. What? And so he wrote in a journal, like all their stops, seeing slave ships, picking up Germans, somehow getting to Oahu. Germans got off on Oahu, and all the Norwegians went to Kauai. And so that's kind of how they established, I guess. There's a place on Kauai called Blackstead Lane. It's basically all my family, but they kind of took over this whole neighborhood from a long time. And so, I mean, just that blend of, like, I didn't know it was part of the Norwegian culture until I actually went to Disney World. So my wife is a Disney fanatic, but Frozen is actually a Norwegian tale. And so as we're in Epcot, like, they're showing all these like different foods from Norway. And that looks super familiar, like the rice pudding and a few other things. It's like, then I called my mom. I was like, hey, is the rice pudding like something Hawaiian? She's like, no, that's the Norwegian. She's like, oh. I was like, oh, everything started to make sense now. And so it was always there. I just didn't know it was so normal that we didn't really see that it was a different side of it. So we just thought it was a local thing.
So rice pudding. What other types of Norwegian foods have you experienced growing up?
Well, my great grandpa, I didn't get to know him, but the butchery, he was a butcher, so he used to own a butcher shop, and that's kind of how a lot of my family would hunt. So they would actually go and hunt goat, and they would sell meats in their butcher shop. And so a lot of it was just like porridge style stews, and that's kind of, I think, the main thing that I've been around as far as Norwegian food.
Because in Norway it's cold, right?
Yeah.
So soups and broths and stuff, and those comfort foods would. So in Norway and in the Norwegian culture, they were seafarers as well. They traveled the world. They also had a rich history of warrior culture, if I'm correct. Vikings, Wow. So that's kind of interesting. You have a very rich background. Let's talk about the Samoan side of you. And I know that you have a pea.
Yeah.
Right? Which I would love for you to explain it, because I've only, I've seen it, and it looks like a very difficult and challenging thing to go through, almost like a rite of passage.
Yes.
What's your experience like?
So my pea, or what we call our malofi, which is the tattooing of like a chief. It's, for me, it doesn't belong to me, so to say. It's my grandfather who passed away when I was, I think, in high school. So he never did his, but he was actually the matai of our family, or the paramount chief for our family. And so I always told him, like, oh, grandpa, why do you never do your pea? Like, and like, what was going on with it? And he was like, oh, I just kind of never got the chance to. By the time we got into life, everything moved so fast. And so I would say before I got, or maybe a year in college, I asked him, like, hey, let me do it for you. Like, one of these days, like, when I'm ready, like, let me take on that. And he always told me no. And he was like, no, it's too much in this. And then kind of before he passed, he said, he's like, if you want to do it, finish college. They finish college, do what you gotta, and then you have my blessing. So after college, I actually went to Japan for a year, played football there. So they had a pro league there, and then came home. And when I came home, as soon as my feet hit the ground, I was like, I already know what I gotta do. And so I went to my family, asked kind of for permission and their blessings, and then we carried on the process of doing it.
Wow, you went to Japan, you went to Portland State. You and Kenji are going to have a lot to talk about. He lived in Japan. He also was a Viking as well, Portland State. So let's talk about the process of getting a pea, and what was your experience like?
So first and foremost, your family's blessings by far. To wear one, you're committed to serving your community, serving your family, and serving God. And so when you're of a maturity level to take on that task, that's kind of where you begin to talk to the family. Oh, I'm looking at doing my songai miki. And then with their blessings, you'll go ahead and contact the tufunga, which is a tattoo artist. He'll sit here and ask you why you want to do it, like, and all these questions. And then if he feels you're ready, then more than likely, then he'll set up a time and you'll get the tattoo started. There's a lot of, I guess, kapus that are put on you, things that you're not allowed to do during the process. And it's just to help deal with the pain and really take on such a enormous task. So it's about, or mine was 8 days of tattooing. Sessions went from 8 hours to as long as 14, I think was my longest. And you'll normally tattoo every other day. And then you'll have 1 day to kind of rest. And the tattooing part is pretty sore or intense, but it's when you finish the session, they actually have to massage the parts that they just tattooed. So they have to get out the extra ink. And that is I think the worst part of all is you just went through hours of dealing with this pain, and now someone has to scrub you down and push out all this extra ink. And then that's kind of the tattooing process of doing it body piece by piece. So you'll start from your upper back, move down to like your butt, down to the back of your calves, and then they'll wrap it around your legs. So.
And there's many different designs I've seen.
Yeah.
What is yours symbolic of?
So the general outline is always the same on everyone for the males. And then within the tattoo, there's inspiration of maybe the conversation you might have with the tattoo artist, maybe them knowing your position in your community, if you have like a status of like a chief, or you might be a priest, or just whatever you said in that conversation. And as he gets inspiration while he tattoos you from nature, that's kind of the fill in terms of the patterns. And so there's patterns that will represent nature, like the water. The black represents the water, which we call kapulu, and just being surrounded by water. You have patterns which will kind of mimic like the footsteps of your ancestors, and kind of following in their path. And so it goes a lot deeper and more intricate, and we can sit here for hours. Yeah. But that's kind of like just the general, I guess, theme of the tattoo.
So how has it changed your life post?
I think it forced me to grow up. And I think that was the biggest thing is when you take on the responsibility of wanting to wear it, I guess you never want to put it to shame. And so you carry yourself very differently, right? You carry yourself with respect. People in your family will look to you to lead and guide. And while they're looking to you, you also have to figure out how to serve them. And so that is the biggest thing I think with maturity is serving the higher purpose, right? Taking care of your family, keeping God entwined inside your family, and then serving your culture and your community, the biggest, right? I mean, your community might just be your neighborhood and your family, or your community might be like the whole Samoan community. And so being a responsible, I guess, member of that community to where people look up to you. And like, I was always raised around sports. And so our coaches always preach, right? You're always in the eyes of the community, no matter whether you like it or not. You'll be a role model. And so with that being said, to pay attention to who's watching to you. And it wasn't something of like, care what people think about you, because I think we should definitely care what people think about you. But how you choose to take that, right, that info is on you. But I mean, now having a daughter, I guess you see it more of wanting other kids to look up to something more positive, right? And so to be walking around as a Samoan male with my peo, I make sure to my best of my ability is that I'm representing the culture right? And being either rooted. I'm not fluent in Samoan, and some people might have their opinions about that, but I do understand it. And for the parts that I lack in the culture, I make up in other sides, right?
Wow, that's heavy. Sorry, that's why you're here. But I've known that about you, but I didn't know that about you, if that makes sense.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay. One more question on Samoan. When you were saying that live a life for God, culturally, what does that mean in Samoan?
Yeah, it's a hard subject, being I guess, indigenous people, right, and still following Christianity. But in the Samoan culture, God is like the pivotal. What everything is built around is God, and whether you're looking at your Christian God or you're just looking at the cultural side of the God, I always believed in a higher power. I believe there's, whether it's everyone else may have their views of what that higher power is. I do follow Christ and as our Savior, but I believe that we can coexist, right? Our Christian God and our culture can exist at the same time.
Yes.
And so I try my best to just live a good life. Like I think at the end of the day, regardless if you're a Christian or not, there's guidelines that are set to just be a good person. And if you can follow just being a good person, we make this world that much more better. And I think that's the back end goal of it all, is to just be a good person. And I mean, this world is already kind of crazy. So, I mean, we don't need any more negativity added to it. And so just following in some higher power will lead you to being a better person, I believe.
Wonderful message. Let's move on to your Hawaiian culture, the Hawaiian side. When I worked with you at Four Seasons, it was a short stint. I've made a lot of great connections there. I learned a lot. The MENA group was wonderful to work for. Also, Four Seasons was an awesome company to work for as well. I remember during my time there, you gifted me with Alaea, salt from Hanapepe.
Yeah.
Hanapepe salt, for those of you who don't know, is to me one of the best, if not the best, seasonings in the world. There's something about it. Is it the mana? Is it the flavor? Is it the way it's cultivated? The fact that it comes from the ocean or shores, right? Saui is actually connected. His family actually has salt beds in Hanapepe, and there's a lot of insights that I think that he can provide us so that we can understand a little bit more of why this salt is so special. Can you tell us?
Yeah, people refer to Hanapepe salt as Kauai gold. In the older days, right, there wasn't refrigeration, so everything had to be salted to be saved. And so that was something that was very prevalent in Hawaiian culture was pa'akai. What separates Hanapepe salt is the way we do it. From what I'm told, I think there might be only one other place that uses clay beds, and it might be, I think, either Hana or in Molokai. I'm not too sure. But we get this clay from where the areas of the beds are. We actually dig it up, and we use that to rub the inside of our beds, just to make this kind of nice layer so that when we do our salt, the dirt doesn't get stuck to it. We have these wells, which we call the waipuna, or the waipunas store our salt water, whether it comes from underground or we pump water into it. But in the wells or the waipunas, there's these tiny brine shrimps or the ōpae, which makes our salt actually a little sweeter. And then so that gets super salty. We put it into our waikus, which is our holding beds, and then we put it into the lineages, which is what the beds to make the salt. And like I just the flavor profile is very different. Like I've tried pa'akai from the reef or from like other islands, and like how people do it is it does have a different taste and texture to it. But the way we harvest it there is we can do it in large quantities, which is why we always share it, because we make so much salt. I mean, you can't use that much salt, and so we're always gifting people, or we use it to trade as part of like the biggest part of the salt.
Tell me this. I remember one time I asked you if I could buy some, and you're like, brother, we don't sell this stuff.
Nope.
So it's either bartered or traded or gifted, correct?
Yep, correct.
And I remember one time you brought me a couple of different colors, and we're going to get into that shortly, but it's funny. I got a quick story. When you brought me a couple of bags, as I walked through the restaurant, everybody, people would ask, chefs especially, what is that? What kind of salt? That's salt. And I was carrying in 2 little bags, and I was like, oh, bro, everybody's interested. And I was like, I like share too, right? So I started making baggies for people and passing them out, and everybody's like, what is that? You know what I mean? But I think the reception that people get when they first taste it, because the chefs would put a little short rib in and they put a little bit on it. It was like, oh, this is different, bro.
Salty, yeah.
It's salty. It's salty, but it's different. It's flavorful. It's savory. It has a pop that normal salt doesn't have. So there's a couple of different kinds, right? You've given me one that had a brownish hue to it. I want you to explain to me the different types of salt that you have.
Yeah, so your top grade of the salt is normally your pure whites. That'll be like your table salt or things that you normally save. The layer in the middle and under kind of has a pinkish, almost a reddish color, and that is, some people refer to it as like your Alaea, and so that's the grade you'll use to like dry fish, dry meat, marinate. And then there's another version which what I refer to as Alaea, or proper term is Alaea. We call Alaea for short. And so what Alaea is it's a mineral deposit that's normally found by a lot of the hunters when they go up to certain areas. They'll look for it as like looking for gold. So they'll cut into the mountain and they'll look for these dark, deep red veins, and they'll pull out the rocks. And the rocks is what we call Alaea rock. And so that we'll use to either turn it to dust and mix it with the salt, or we'll actually rub down the salt with that, and it just gives it a different, like, robust flavor to it. But it's used more in like cultural, traditional ceremonies. It's used more medicinal, so it's very high in iron. So that's why it's a mineral deposit.
Really?
Yeah. And so there's two different Alaeas. So there's Alaea in the mountain in Mauka, and there's one in Makai.
Okay.
I grew up always with the one in Mauka, and so the rock that I actually brought is actually my grandfather's rock that we actually had.
Okay, so that's so interesting, that little flavor dynamic, but then also the nutritional aspect of it being high in iron.
Yeah.
So is this good? Yeah, just leave it in the middle. Okay, so explain to us what we have here.
Yeah. So this is your pakai. This is the white grade side, and so this is the Alaea rock.
Okay.
And so normally, before the invention of technology, you'll rub down every single grain of it.
Really?
But with the grater, we'll turn it into like dust. And then we'll just mix it through, and then you'll see that kind of reddish kind of tone come. And the more you do it right, the darker it comes. And you'll see it a lot done in like, or I guess when like kahunas do blessings, they'll use this Alaea salt rather than your traditional whites and stuff.
Kauai gold. Wow.
And so the area where it's being harvested in Hanapepe, there's a pakai hui that kind of protects the area. But there's also 23 original families that started harvesting salt in that area. So before it used to be done in different areas, very similar ways. But my great grandpa on my Kauai side, so my mom's side, were part of that original family that established that. And so there's a lot of the families that are still there or connected. And that's kind of who's in charge of the pakai hui, which is the Hawaiian salt group. And then there was the outside edges where if you weren't from Hanapepe, you were still able to make salt. You just weren't a part of that center area where they're always harvesting. And so the funnier part is the beds that I work is on my grandma's side rather than my grandpa's side. And so my grandpa's side, they still have the Kauai families that are still there practicing the making of Hawaiian salt. But I work the ones from my grandma's side. Okay. It is on the outer edge, and it's a little easier, and it's a little higher. So when it does get flooded out from rain, it's normally the last bits to go as far as getting flooded. It's kind of why I love that side too.
Interesting. I never thought about rainwater and flooding.
Yeah. So that's a big thing when harvesting salt is we can go seasons where we don't make any salt at all because we need this. We depend on the sun and drying it out. And once the rain comes, it'll wash everything out. It'll actually make the waipunas too watered down. Oh. So the waipunas are so salty you can throw like a shoe and it'll float. That's how salty that well is.
Ah, interesting. Thank you for sharing that. Fascinating stuff, and thank you for also bringing some for us to share with our ohana as well. Okay, so let's move on to your relationship with the actual ocean, being in the ocean, and I want to talk about some of the catches that you've had, some of the most memorable experiences diving in the deep ocean. So, I mean, that also would be related to becoming a fish sommelier.
Yeah, 100%.
So let's talk about that.
Yeah, so I usually tell people I probably learned how to swim before I could walk. My father's a fisherman, grandfather's fisherman on both sides. Fishing in like just Hawaiian and Samoan cultures, I mean, it's just what you did normally. Like, I mean, the levels of it may be different, but I usually tell people I'm a spear fisherman. They grow up doing other things, trolling, bottom fishing here and there, a little bit of cast net, but my main like fishing background when I say I'm a fisher is more spear fishing. I think that into the fish sommelier position starts to make sense when I say I'm a local fisherman. Whereas we're coming from a different angle of the job, right? We're coming from what we see in the ocean, what we normally, I guess, prepare our fish with, or how we prepare them, and like what certain things eat, going in the deeper side, why things might have a certain taste, certain texture. I think being a fisherman, we see all those things, so it's easier for us to educate the guests on what to expect. I'm not saying you have to be a fisherman to be a fish sommelier. It just helps, and it does give you a better, different angle. I know when we had, I think it was Ornos in San Francisco, the MENA group actually hired a prep cook, a longtime prep cook, and he actually was their fish sommelier as well. And so he kind of came from a culinary side, which is amazing. I think that's a great way to do it too, if you had to come from a different angle from it. I mean, the first sommeliers or wine sommeliers were chefs, so it makes sense to me.
Okay. So let's talk about your experience in the ocean. For some of those out there, there's some people that can't swim. There's some people that haven't dove to 10 feet.
Yeah.
But what kind of depths are you diving at to hunt these fish?
Yeah, I'd say I dive comfortable from 50 to 60 feet. And I'll push 100 if I have a good partner to watch me. I guess before I got a chance to train with some of our local freedivers or professional freedivers, I worked with a guy named Kurt Chambers, who basically just taught me what I thought I knew, and he threw it out the door. And so just educating on like how the body works and like how hypoxia and oxygen works helped me develop a better, I guess, breath hold, which in turns helped me develop safer diving and being a better spear fisherman with that knowledge.
How long are you underwater if you're pushing 100 feet?
To hit 100 feet is not that long. It might be anywhere 30 or 40 seconds, depending on how well you kick going down and how well you're weighted. And then being down is probably the part of it is I guess anywhere from a minute 30 pushing to 2 minutes would be a good dive time to hit 100 and actually dive at 100.
And what kind of fish are you going after?
If it's that deep, you're looking for like the bigger, I guess, moana collies, the goldfish, bigger kumus. A lot of uku and mu will live down at those depths. I think the mu is the biggest one people target in terms of the ability of being able to attack those bigger fish. And then as you get to higher depths, you'll see guys looking for like more of like the minpachis, the smaller whole fish and all that. But yeah, and then you have the other side of spearfishing, which is like your blue water diving. The guys going after like onos, ahis. I've seen a few guys shoot marlins and spearfish, especially in Kona on the Big Island, South Point. There's a lot of crazy guys out there fishing for those blue waters.
I mean, those fish can kill you.
Yeah, 100%.
You shoot them and stone them, they could come back.
Yeah, and there's videos of people getting stabbed by marlins on the boat. So it's crazier to be in the water and see what they can do. Yeah.
So explain to me the vantage point when you're sitting 100 feet on the ocean bed. It's like a different world. It is a different world.
It is. Yeah, 100.
What does it feel like, brother?
It's just the world disappears. It's just quiet down there. I think it's just peaceful down there. I think that's why I love spearfishing so much. Besides being selective, I'm very impatient. That's why I'm not a great, I guess, short caster. Is just waiting around is not what I can do. And so I have to always get out there and get after it. And I think I found a lot more, I guess, therapeutic background through spearfishing and just escaping the world. And like sometimes I'll go out and I'll dive and not even catch anything, and I'm perfectly fine. And then the other part is being subsistence, right? Catch what we cook. It does help for like, I mean, we live in Hawaii, it's expensive. Like fish and meat is expensive no matter where you go. So if you can get it yourself, right, you subsidize that part of your budget, right? And all you have to do is buy the ingredients to cook it with.
And then, I mean, it's also like, a sustainable way of living, but also what it teaches your family, your ohana and your kids, right?
Yes.
To forage and and to hunt
Yeah.
your own food and gather,
Yeah.
right?
So my I come from a big like hunting and fishing background from like just my family in general. Like a lot of my family like grew up hunting the canyons in Waimea. And so like we were always taught just how sensitive life is when you take it yourself. Like people don't understand how much it takes and how connected you have to be to take a life, right? To carry on with your life. And so I think our appreciation of like harvesting our own food has kind of gave us a greater appreciation when we do actually go to the store and we have to buy it. Like we, for the most part, if it says wild caught, we kind of know what kind of went into it. And so I think like teaching, hopefully passing that on to my daughters, that they kind of grow up with that same appreciation of food and food security.
To honor the life of the animal that gave its life for you to sustain yourself, right?
Yeah.
And nourish your body. Okay, so I got one more topic I want to talk to you about before I hand it over to Kenji, because he has some questions for you as well. Corey Kamaka.
Ooh.
I don't know. I worked with this man. Corey Kamaka recently passed in a horrific manner. The suspect is still on the loose. I worked with him for 5 months at the Four Seasons, and I wanted to honor his life by speaking on his character with somebody that knows him extremely well. When I first showed up to Four Seasons and I walked into Mina's Fish House, he's the first guy that came up to me and said, "Oh, we a local manager." "Yes, sir." And that immediately made me feel comfortable because I didn't know what to expect. I was going into a big corporation with hundreds of employees, and I didn't know anybody. And it was very new for me after working at Roy's for so long. I also hired his wife, Ferge, for a stint at Roy's, and she's an amazing woman as well that I respect and honor as well. I want to honor Corey's life by hearing Saui's firsthand account of what it was like to work with him. Saui, Corey Kamaka.
I mean, yeah, he's besides like the vets of the restaurant, like Corey he's there for everybody's first day. It's crazy. Like everybody who started, if you're not a part of like that core like serving group, your first day you meeting this big Hawaiian brother, right? And I think to describe Corey in just a couple words is he's Hawaiian to the bones, like the ambassador of Aloha. I think that's exactly the best way we can put it. Like, and we'll see as we go through like this period until his funeral that he touched so much people.
You know, when that happened, the amount of people that came out to show support was unprecedented. And I want to say this, I've had a lot of people close to me in my life that have passed away. But, you know, a lot of them was old age or disease, and we kind of knew and saw it coming.
Yeah.
This was so instant and out of the blue. Nobody was expecting this. And especially for the type of person he was and the impact that he had on the community and people, the way that he would selflessly give himself. Somebody told me the other day, there was at a night market. They were setting up their tent and everybody was walking past him. He's having little bit struggles. He said, when this brother Corey came, he said, "Hey, brother, cuz what you need, cuz you travel, put up your tent." One speed, put him up. 2 minutes by himself.
Yeah.
And my friend was like, "Brah, who is this guy?"
Yeah.
That was the character that he had. When he worked on the floor, there was a different energy in the restaurant.
Presence.
Brah. And not only because of how big he was, but it was because of how huge his heart was.
Yeah.
First one in, last one out. You guys know, like, do that, but he's already doing it.
Yeah. It's actually Paul.
The setup, the breakdown, the guest interaction made me feel so comfortable. Alongside having brothers like you, Josiah, brother Ryan, My short time at Mina's really enriched my perspective on customer service.
Yeah.
I just want to say that. So, Corey, rest in love, my brother. We have so much love and respect for you, and your family will be well taken care of because of the network in the village that you literally led.
Yeah, 100. Like, I mean, in my life, I've lost one person, which is a good friend named Max back in high school. And as much as we cried for it, I mean, it was mistakes that happened. And then with Corey's, it was a lot from like anger, right? Mm-hmm. And then I think that's the harder part is with most of what is coming from a very angry side of us. Mm-hmm. And like something that was taken from us. So as much as we want to dwell on that anger, I think in his honor, right? Mm-hmm. Just learn to live the rest of our life with Aloha, and don't let his debt go to waste, right?
Yeah.
We all took something from him, from our interactions with him. And so to carry on his legacy, right? Not just for us, but I mean his kids.
Yeah.
Right. Pono, Kaeo, Kule, and Cowboy, Furge, like regardless, he'll live through all of us and like all the lives that he's touched. And as the harder part for me, I guess, is, I mean, you see the stats all the time, right? Native Hawaiians kind of lead the incarceration rate. So I work as a juvenile counselor, so we already see all these, right? And it's already a dime a dozen community of actual like Hawaiians that are very successful in Hawaii. And like him and Furge are just hustlers. Man, I look up, like I'm a busy man, but there's very few people I find that's busier than me. And him and Furge are just hustlers. Like I'll be leaving to go to work to my other job, and he's the same thing. We're both getting ready. Oh, where are you going? He's like, I'm going to work. We gotta go do our clean business. Yeah. And so I get off of work, and he's actually going to another job. I'm like, what? I was like, I know you're busy, but, and he's like, yeah, it's just how we got to make it, right?
Yeah.
He's like, we just got to hustle. And never once they complained how busy they were in like the life that they wanted to establish for their kids. And so I think for us, like we have a fundraiser coming up November 22nd. Yep. And so it'll be at DB Girl in Alaea. And, even from the grave, like first, like Corey's like, like from the grave, Corey will take care of you guys. However he has to, right? He'll make it happen. And so just as a shout out to them, and like, all of us at Mina's Fish House and every restaurant, every place that he's been and people he's touched, like we're here to support, like whatever we got to do, whatever we can, you'll feel it. And it's a tough one to lose, right? To lose one of our finest.
And let that be an example and a lesson for everyone here. How would Corey want us to operate moving forward? Hold him in the highest of regards and truck on and continue to work hard, like how he did.
Yeah, like I even told people, like our workers at Mina's, like it'll never be the same. And to tell you the truth, I would never want it to be the same because it can't be the same without him, right? But then we move on, right? We carry on. I know I was telling them, right? I was like, if Corey was able to give one call to us, he'd tell us stop crying. I guarantee you, he'd be like, stop crying for me. I guarantee you.
Fuckers.
But like every time I walk in a restaurant, right, we see Corey, he's like, oh, sup, Hawaiian.
Yeah.
Like I think, he's the definition of what it means to be Hawaiian in Hawaii.
Yeah. Well, thank you for sharing that, Brother Saui. I know it was emotional, but it was needed, right? Mm-hmm. Brother Kenji, you're up.
Brother Saui, mahalo for coming.
Thank you for having me.
Can I try some of the salt real quick? Because I was over there on the side.
Yeah, try from like the outer edges on a white, and then try the red after.
So we tried the pure white, you said?
Yeah, the pure white's there, your table salt.
Oh, see. The last bag I had of this, I was hiding in the freezer wrap all the way in the back because I was like, you can't just use this on some eggs. Like, I mean, I did. Like just eggs, avocado. I was like, it just elevated it right away.
So much, so different.
But I was like, bro, I cannot let this go. I'm so happy you brought some. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you to your Ohana. I kind of want to get into that too. But let me, move my way towards the dust or the iron.
Yeah. A little more like robustness. Yeah. Almost like smoky without it being smoke kind.
I was going to say, if you didn't tell me that, I would just think that was one of those like pre-mixed salt pepper kind.
Yeah, yeah.
You know what I mean? Like maybe
Yeah.
get some garlic inside or something. There's more than salt.
Yeah.
Brah, thank you. Is that you're not getting in trouble for showing us all this?
Nah.
You know what I mean? I just
with these days, right? Technology, right? No more secrets anymore.
You know what though? Thank you. I do want to start on the Kauai part because, you know, Kauai is that one that was never conquered.
Yup,
you know what I'm saying?
Unconquered.
I know if Chief of War makes it to season 3, 4, 5, maybe we're gonna have that storyline in there. But that is something. As me and my brother, born and raised on Oahu, Kauai is kind of like west side of Oahu too. We know it's over there.
Yeah,
we looking sometimes.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. If we on Miley Pillbox or something, we can see them or not, but. It for us, you know, like people live Kailua, maybe you see other islands right there. Maui, especially West Maui, you see the other islands. But us, west side of Oahu, we know Kauai is there.
Yeah.
And we feel it, but we don't see it too much. So to me, I've always felt like this longing to connect.
Yeah, it's kind of foreign to people.
Yeah.
Even people that live here is foreign.
And it is kind of farther. You know, a lot of times when you see the Hawaiian Islands on like a design, they cheat it.
Yeah.
The space in between Oahu and Kauai. They make it shorter than it actually is.
Yeah.
But because it's so like out there, but our Japanese side actually is, I know because you said you're playing Norwegian roots, but also Japanese.
Yeah, playing Japanese, Filipino
Choke
too.
Japanese, huh?
Yeah.
And so our Fuji side actually, our roots and a lot of our kupuna is actually buried over there.
Okay.
So.
What side of Kauai?
You know that. Okay, I can. If this is Kauai, it's like.
That's west.
Okay.
Like, just by the way you point, that's west. The west south.
So, I've always felt like, bruh, I get some roots there too that is just kind of not as connected.
Yeah, yeah.
So for you, I mean, you born and raised there. You moved to Oahu. What? How long you been here?
20. So I came here 2010 to 2013 for football. I left for a year and then I came back since. So like 2015, I've been here since.
So almost give or take half-ish your life.
Yeah, I've been here a long time.
This guy's half now. So the roots though is Kauai.
Yeah.
And tell me this though, that pride, that sense of pride you have, how does it change when you spend half your life now on the neighboring island of Oahu?
Like, I mean, kind of hard to say because I go back Kauai maybe every other month if I can.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah. And even, I mean, less now with my daughter and stuff because it's a little bit hard to travel that quick. But yeah, I guess in the last couple of years, I'd go back to fish, maybe hunt with my family. I always go back summer, though. I usually go back summer to do Pakai and do that season, or at least start the season.
But your Kiki is born here.
Yeah, she's born here. She's an Oahu girl.
Okay.
Or just say, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Here's my wife, Oahu girl. It's okay.
Okay. And then, so when you go back every summer, my perception of Kauai as somebody from Oahu, right, is Kauai is super protective. You think, like
Very
North
much.
Shore Oahu surf spots level or some West Side spots level of protection. Or the locals is way more protective. That's my image. Is that true?
Yeah. So even, I mean, I guess thinking of the hui, right, on Oahu.
Yeah.
So Kala, the captain.
Yeah.
Kala's family actually from Kauai, from Hanalei. So he brought that mentality too with him to Oahu with the hui when they're defending the beaches, right?
Right.
And so I think, it goes back into like all the legends, right? I think it's Kukalani Po was one of those legends of Kauai, and just at one point in time, if you dig deeper into the Chief of War, there's a lot of chiefs that were trying to plan to take Kauai since before Kamehameha. There's been raids that predated Kamehameha and all of that, and so like we've been unconquered for a long time.
Hey, that's what I was saying. That's that pride. That
It is
multi-generational, and I see it now with social media, right? Like, it gives an illusion of connection, but really we just see it through here. But a lot of the surfers, fishermen, whoever, craftsmen, and women, like super protective.
Very, very, especially like the fisherman communities as well, right? Because they still believe, right? They're not as, I guess, concrete like Oahu, and so the ahupuas still exist, And there's a lot of people that believe that it still exists, right? And so to go to a different side and fish, it's basically like digging in someone's icebox, right? And so the same guys in Molokai think the same way. Right? You just came over to dig my icebox.
Yeah.
All you gotta do is ask,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Ask.
Yeah.
And that's why we always trade, right? I bring salt. If I'm gonna dive on a place I've never been with other people, I bring Hawaiian salt just for like, mahalo for letting me dive with you guys here. Because, I taking fish out of your icebox to feed my family. And so it has to maintain throughout the chain. And that's with hunting and fishing. That's why everyone's so protected, right? Because we're limited with resources.
You know what? It's kind of crazy. I just thought of, like, if you look at the island chain, Oahu is kind of more or less in the middle.
Yeah.
And it's a more populated one.
Yeah.
For many reasons. And then as you go away, you kind of get more closer to this kind.
Yeah.
Like Big Island, you catch these vibes.
Yeah.
Kauai, you catch these vibes.
Yeah.
Ni'ihau for sure, right?
Yeah.
So like, well, Molokai is next to us too, so maybe not. But you see what I'm saying? Maui and Oahu, two islands, very populated, and you could say more indoctrinated in the Western ideologies
Yep.
of ownership,
Yep.
land ownership and such.
Yep.
Whereas you're describing, get ahupuas on Kauai
Yeah,
right
that
now.
still exists, and people still believe in living from the mountain to the sea, and which is why we still trade, right? That's kind of how we were always taught is we're taking something from the land, so we couldn't sell. There are some families that will sell their salt, and that's your own, whatever you want to do. That's your hard work that you put into it, and that's on you. But we were taught to not sell, but we were taught we could trade and gift and bless people, right? And so it was a lot of times we were trading people from the mountains who need to like salt down their meat. And so we'll trade them for maybe pig or goat. You get those lucky guys that get deer, and we'll trade them that too. Even like the barter system passes even to like Nihao shells.
Yeah.
So my cousin's side, so Sam, his dad's side is all from Nihao. And so I actually grew up hearing the Nihao dialect. And so when I would hear the Olelo version, like at the airports and stuff, and like not saying anything bad on it, it always sounded different to me. Like it didn't make sense to me because there was a lot of different sounds that happened. And it was just because I grew up always hearing that Nihaoan language. And so,
Can you give an example of a difference?
yeah. The biggest one is like the T's and the K's, right? And then like, so like people will say, or like Alaea salt, people will say Alaea a lot. You hear Alaea, the more proper term. But a lot of like the Kauai Nihao people would cut it short and they say just Alaea, right? And they cut the words a lot shorter. And like the T's, like how they would say Kamehameha, Nihaoans would say Tamehameha. And so it was very Tahitian like, so it rolled a lot. So there's even the Tahitian R sound that would roll a lot. And so even when I was growing up in high school, that was kind of the revitalization of like the Lua, the Hawaiian martial arts. And so even as they're teaching Lua, they're teaching in an older language. So you're hearing a lot of different sounds that we weren't taught in school of like Olelo. And not to say anything on Olelo, but it was a version that was written down even in the Queen's era. And so that's why there's a different dialect. And you should expect every island was different, right? Because till Kamehameha was never unified.
And shoot, we talk about Chivor a lot because it's like culturally, it's one of the biggest things happening for everyone here. And that story starts on your island, right?
Yeah, Guyana. Yeah.
Starts over there.
So if you're with Chief of War, if you're not familiar, it's actually one big family feud.
Yeah.
Right. If you look at it, like Kamehameha's like his cousins from the Big Island and the uncle, and then Kauai's side, that's all cousins. They're all related. All the Alii are all related. So it's basically one big family feud.
Family feud. Hey, nothing
and
changed.
the biggest cousin won.
Yeah. Wow. Okay. So tell me this, because when you're talking about your family's salt beds, can you explain what harvesting salt is like? Like, take me, you say you go into summers. First of all, there's seasons. What is the seasons? And then what is the process of harvesting salt?
Yeah. So the season is just the summer, more likely from May. And we'll say it goes, as long as it doesn't rain, we'll go as long as we can. So sometimes people will go into December. But typically May to like September, October maybe, before the rain kind of washes it all out. So we're dependent on the sun. And so like when we're taught to like harvest salt, we're really at the mercy of nature, right? Because it only dries as fast as the sun lets it dry.
There's no artificial process.
There's no artificial process
to process it.
Like the only thing we do now different is we'll get a pump and we'll pump the water out or pump the water into the bed just so it's a lot easier because you have a lot more kupuna that are still actually practicing the tradition. So we used to have to use a bucket and pour it, like carry it from one well to the next and on to the next. And so some of us still do it, but that's the only biggest difference is the pump now. But yeah, so you depend on like the summer's sun. We make these clay beds. You kind of like are in the beds, in the mud, you know, the expensive clay people put on their face. We're using that to line our beds. So we make a dirt bed, so there's an impression in the ground, and then we layer clay over it.
Got it.
And then the salt water is poured, and then the sun will dry it out, and then it'll leave behind the salt.
The water's from the well or the
from
ocean?
the well. So the water from the ocean goes into the well, and then as it, I guess as, what do you call it? Evaporates, right? It leaves the water a little more salty, and we keep doing that. And so the well becomes super salty, and then we take that and we put it in the holding beds, which are closer to the Waimeas, which is where we make those beds.
Oh, so the health of the well, everything is dependent on the well.
Everything is depending on the well, yeah. So if it rains, that well will get watered down, or sometimes when fresh water gets in, it'll have algae that builds up in there. And so we have to actually empty the well, clean out the algae, scrape them out of all the limu inside and all the algae, and take it out and then refill it back up and then let it get salty again.
That's like a one-day thing, or like
a couple weeks sometimes.
Yeah.
Depends on the sun too, right?
Wow, a lot of dependence on things you cannot control.
Yeah, and that's the part I love about it is like you're just, I mean, just like the olden days, you were just a steward to it.
Yeah,
right. You're just assisting.
Yeah,
and then nature will do its thing.
This is all happening. Your beds is on the west side.
So in Hanapepe.
Yeah. Okay. So is it the same as like Oahu, like the leeward drier side? It's drier over there.
Because my uncle Kane has done it for the most part, as our family kind of in and out of the beds. Right, life goes on. So sometimes we don't show up, and then we'll come back some summers. But he's even told me that they've done it like down in Maili. They do it off the reef.
You mean over here?
Yeah, so they'll find it like the tide pools.
Yeah.
Right. And then in the hot summer suns, they'll start filling up the tide pools with water. And then as it evaporates, it leaves behind pakai. The difference with theirs is a little more, I think, fine. Like it's a lot more like dusty. It's not as like compact as ours is, because we're packing layers and layers of salt on ours. So that's why ours has that kind of grittier texture to it.
Bruh, I mean, just can we just show this bag that you brought real quick? Because just for the scale, like this guy Saui walked in with this bag. Look,
I don't know. My wife might be mad, guy, giving away this nice.
Talk about gold. I mean, that's some bartering power right there.
Yeah, it is.
Thank you.
Yes. We give away for like when we have like birthdays, little party favors, and like gifting is probably my favorite part about it. Just to kind of give out our hard labor, right, to people. Because like a lot of my circle that I give it to are like the culinary side. So like Chef Jasper and Maddie, them, and so they appreciate what salt means. Like, I mean, it's in every culture. Every culture. Salt is the kind of like predominant like season.
Everybody had to preserve
before
refrigerators.
Yeah, it's so important to our cultures.
And spices, salts. I mean, the most basic level. I have some questions about your journey though, because it overlaps with mine. So you went to PSU?
PSU.
Bruh.
2000 so I graduated 2009, and I went that year for a whole year.
I left 2008.
Oh, right before. So you know the football boys that was there?
I mean,
kind of like the Hawaii football boys. Like there's Moses Punzol.
Yeah.
So Moses from Kauai. He's from Kaua. Yeah, he's from Kaua side.
Oh, okay.
So that's the first person that took me when I went there.
Wow.
I mean, one, we from Hawaii, but two, we from Kauai. So even more so, he took me on his way.
Where you stayed? Montgomery? Or
No, the freshman dorms were just built. The new freshman one.
On 6th Ave.
Yeah, right by across the barbershop.
I was there 03 to 08. And I tell you this, so at that time, I don't know if it still is, but PSU was a trimester.
Yeah.
Trimester, right? So first trimester is fall, right? Get through that. Okay, everything's
September,
new. Yeah, everything's cool. It's still cloudy. Yeah. Still rainy. For those who don't know, Pacific Northwest is like 250 days a year, like overcast or rainy.
Yep.
And a temperature difference for a Hawaii boy, right? And I was in a dormitory that wasn't the most conducive to learning and growth. There was every substance you could imagine. Bags like that, but not with salt. You know what I mean?
But still the same.
You know what I mean? I was just, saw everything. Candy store in the dorms. Like, what is going on? And once that first winter hit, the second trimester, I felt homesick.
Yeah.
And I was like, what is this? me and my brother were very fortunate to have a mom who worked for United, so we had travel benefits. We knew what non-rev life was like. We've been places, but I was living here now, and I got super homesick, and I wanted to go home. I called my mom from the dorms, like, I'm coming, like, let's get a ticket. She was like, I understand if you feel this way in summer, come home. Mm-hmm. And I'm so happy she said that because I stayed. I was like, okay, summer I'm leaving. But somehow that decision of like, well, I'm staying until summer. Yeah. Just everything got better. Mm-hmm. And I started playing sports. I started playing soccer over there. I played soccer. Yeah. I started playing pickup game soccer. I started just the physical activity. Yeah. Got me through this gloomy. Yeah.
Ignoring what's going on sometimes.
And then from there, boom, the next 5 years was just like a flash.
Yeah. So I would have stayed there, but so I was there during Jerry Glanville's era. So I was actually at the end of his era. Oh. So that's why I came that way, because that was actually Hawaii staff. So Jerry Glanville was, we never had the greatest year that year. And so when they fired all of them, I had a decision like, do I stay? Do I go home? So I stuck it out for spring to see the new coach. Yeah. And then I was like, I'm still going to play football. Yeah. And so that's why I kind of, maybe I'll walk on at UH. So I came back home, walked on. I got my scholarship back basically for UH, and then carried on.
So you was there, what,
10 to 13.
10 to 13. No, PSU.
Oh, PSU 09 to 10.
So that's okay. In that small, I guess you never had time for get homesick. You was busy. You was already an athlete.
Same with you, right? After right when we got into winter, because I still stayed there because of trimesters and stuff. That's when it kind of hit. But I think what was making it easier and why I would have stayed was, you can spot Hawaii people from a mile away.
Tell me.
Even in the dorms, you just look around, you see flags hanging everywhere. And so when I really got sick, I was like, oh, what floor is that? Okay, I'm going to knock on that door.
One tip before I leave the Portland conversation behind. For somebody, another Hawaii-born person going to, let's say, Pacific Northwest. Let's get real specific. Either Portland, Seattle, Tacoma, I don't know, Pacific Northwest. And you're in that first winter. What kind of advice? Mine is just, play soccer. That's my thing. Play a sport, a team sport. That'll get you through it. What's your kind of tip for beating homesickness?
Just like you said, stay busy. Stay busy. Like when you have too much time on your hand, like you leave it to your thoughts, right? You just sit around and you just dwell on a lot of what ifs and I missed this and I missed that. And so when you're busy, you don't pay attention to that, and then you create a lot of relationships that will get you through those hard times. Like, if you're in the Pacific Northwest, look around, you're going to find Hawaii people, I guarantee you.
Plenty out there.
So much. And there was luau seasons out there too. Yeah. So we'd go to Oregon State's luau and up to Oregon. And that's only my first year.
That's right. OSU is like an hour and a half away. Yeah. Eugene.
Yeah. The reason why I would have stayed more, my best friend Mike actually went to Oregon State. Okay. So if it was that homesick, hey, Mike, I coming up. He's like, yep, got you.
Yep. Oh, okay. No, you know why? Because just listening to you, like, people would think, bro, this guy has some perseverance. Like jiu-jitsu, already a martial art, right? Mm-hmm. To achieve any level of proficiency requires you to go through some shit.
It does.
And it does. Diving 100 feet, 2-minute breath holds at 100 feet, like, bro, these aren't easy things, right? Yeah. So homesickness, like, bro.
Yeah. Just remember, diamonds are made under pressure. Diamonds are made under pressure.
What about Japan? You said you went to Japan.
Yeah. So I played professionally in Japan 2014. So my 2013 year was my senior year, kind of on track. Hopefully I would have tried and get a free agent deal, but then I blew my knee. Utah State, someone fell on my knee. They thought it was an ACL tour. Luckily, it was only MCL. So I made it through the season, and then at the end of the season, I could barely walk, right? So I had to tell my agent, like, oh, what's the next move? He's like, can you do pro day? I was like, I can't even walk, bro. And he's like, well, we'll try and heal, and we'll see how far it gets. And as we got closer and closer, I'm like, I don't think it's going to work. And so he's like, well, there's CFL. If you want me to put a CFL, well, maybe we'll try that. And then just lucky, I got a call one day, kind of just sitting on the couch. There's a couple of Hawaii boys that were already playing in the league. So Tufanga called me, like, hey, you still trying to play? I was like, yeah, if they're willing to let me heal, I'll play. Yeah. And he's like, okay, well, there's a coach coming looking for players. And so he's setting up interviews. I'll set you one. Okay, so the Asahi soft drinks. So their coach came down, interviewed me. And then he was like, well, you trying to play for us? So like, if you give me time, like a month to heal, I'll be there. And he's like, bet. So took a month, rest, recovered, and then he sent me on the first flight out in like that April. And I was there till January, I think.
Wow. So we was in, maybe we just passed each other in Portland, but we was in Japan at the same time. I was living there. Yeah. Where were you at?
Osaka.
Well, bro, I was in Shiga, which
is
right
there.
Right there. Yeah. You know. So you was in Osaka playing football.
Yeah.
In 2014.
Yeah.
I was.
And there's Choke Hawaii boys out there too.
Oh, and
they
even
love
more
Hawaii
easy
players.
for see each other over there.
Yeah, we stand out.
Yeah.
Like if you see them walking around, it's like, no, not sumo. Oh yeah, okay, that's football. Or not rugby. Okay, that's football.
You know how many times people thought I was on the Lake All Stars? That's Shiga's basketball team.
Yeah.
I was like, no, but I get it.
Yeah.
How is the sports atmosphere, especially for a foreigner playing in Japan?
So it's a great atmosphere. I think just the only difference in terms of skill level was a little different though. Because even though we're in there, it's kind of like how the old Japanese baseball leagues work. They would hire foreigners to play in their league.
Right.
And so that's how we were hired foreigners, or hired hitmen, I guess, to come in and play in their leagues.
As what? Like as the hammer role? Or
Yeah. So like the better teams or the bigger budget teams would bring in like a quarterback. So like UCLA had Kevin Kraft, who was at IBM up there as their QB and their OC as well. So they kind of paid him as both. And so they kind of just needed a more defensive strength for their team. So they brought in me and my friend Kaniela, who played a couple of years before me at UH. So we played at the same time, but he's a little older. And then we both went to Osaka and played there.
Oh. And would you say that the level of competition, I mean, you go from what?
D1
PSU,
football,
UH, and then now you're over here playing in Japan. What's the biggest difference?
I think the skills, as far as like your running back level, your quarterback level, is much higher in the States, of course. Like just that, like the IQ of football is a lot higher in the States, and the size and power is a lot different. Like we're playing against guys that their O-line might be 260, heaviest 280 on like the bigger teams. Yeah. And then you at UH, you're playing against guys that's 320, 330 running full nines.
The size difference.
Yeah, the size and skills.
What was the limit to foreigners on the field at a time?
2.
See?
So 2 foreigners on either side of the ball.
I don't know if they still do this. They still do? Or like,
it's called Japan's X League, and that's kind of their foreigner rule for most of it, yeah.
See, that was the same thing across soccer, basketball. Football was just starting to pop off when I was there. And they limit the amount of like Japanese national, like the ratio, they protect that.
Yeah.
And I always thought like, that's wild.
Yeah, it's because you'll get the teams that have the money and will build a complete foreign team.
But they're going to smash all the other Japanese teams. I was like, would this fly in America? Like you said, let's make a ratio of only American, like if it's basketball, 3 on the court got to be American and 2 can be foreign.
Yeah. That'd be challenging. It's hard because like our athletes in America's on a much greater level at the professional level,
especially with the international sport like soccer. I could say it's kind of hard, but like football, that's super American.
Yeah, very American. And so what I found out when I got there was the league was going on almost 15 years, maybe even longer than I got there, and I got there in 2014. So David Stant, Kamehameha coach, he was the first foreign player and from Hawaii that started in the league. But he was such a menace that they banned him from the league. He was too rough. Like the hard nose. He came from the hard nose era, was playing football in Hawaii and like through college. And then when he got there, he was just kind of demolishing people. And they saw it as like being dirty.
Yeah.
And he was like, no, this is how we play in the States. And so when they banned him, he became a coach. And so he coached at like Keio University, a bunch of other universities.
Bro, that's like the top university.
David Stan. That's all because of him. He built that program. And now he's Koku's head coach, I think now. So he came back home.
Wow. Dude, thank you for educating me on that.
Yeah.
So you've done the same sort of Pacific Triangle. For me, I considered Pacific Triangle because I started in Hawaii, born and raised. Mm-hmm. Then I went, east. I went to Portland State. I went to Portland, Pacific Northwest. And then I flew all the way across to Japan and came back home to have kids, basically.
Yeah.
And so I kind of carry that sort of Northern Hemisphere triangle in my head all the time. What do you think for you right now, experiencing the same kind of triangle, how do you think that plays into what you do right now? And sort of what's the next sort of base or triangle you want to build?
I'm guessing the next triangle would be probably just the mission of me and my wife with our daughters. and like their careers, right? As they get older, like my wife was already trying to plan that my daughter's going to be a tennis pro. She's trying to get her first poly tennis pro, and I support it fully. But I think that's our next triangle in navigating that, because I know nothing of tennis. I might have to hire a coach for her and me to learn these sports. I can help her. But I think as far as taking from it is, I mean, being in like the food and beverage industry or just hospitality industry, like I see guests and tourists very different than like your typical Hawaii people, right? Like there's always a bad stigma, right, on like tourists coming here and I mean, respectfully, that some of them haven't done the right things. And so I see it from a different, just being in Japan, right? As one, I'm triple the size of the average Japanese person. I don't speak the language. So how do I navigate a life up here? And like just the people in Japan are so nice. Like I tell people all the time, like the low spirit is real in Hawaii, but in Japan, it's a whole nother level. It is such different. Like my friend Inoke Funaki lost his wallet 3-4 times. Every time, somehow got it mailed back, all the cash inside.
In Osaka?
In Osaka. Wow. I don't know how that, like in the States, that don't happen. Just consider it gone, cancel your cards.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, it's so different up there. And even like to have vending machines with cigarettes and beer and alcohol. And you put that out here. Yeah, right.
Because all these high school kids.
Yeah.
You're right. Self-restraint. Also like communal thinking.
Yes.
So I guess my kind of final question that I had was, I didn't want to end on this. It's like, you are a cultured man, a man of many cultures who represents them and literally wears them on your sleeve, you know? So you carry more than just what an individual can carry.
Yeah.
And you represent a lot more than an individual, especially when you're in front of people who are visiting. We're talking Four Seasons Ko'olina, right? A lot of people coming there. So you're that ambassador as well. I know we're talking about Brother Corey being an ambassador.
Yep.
You carry that ambassador spirit as well. So could you sort of explain, let's say to your future child, your future tennis pro daughter, what to do to sort of nourish that ambassador part of yourself? What can we do? Everyday little practices. I don't know if you read certain books, whatever.
People will only know what you teach them, right? And so like, even with like, so we've had conversations of like, how do you feel about like like Samoans or Hawaiians getting a Samoan or Hawaiian tattoo? And like a conversation I had with a tattoo artist once was, you know, how does our culture survive if a lot of our own people aren't willing to hold it? And so the only way it survives is by sharing it, right? Sharing it with the world, because there's a lot of non-Samoans that speak the language fluently, practices the Fa Samoan, the communal practices or traditions. And so don't judge them by where they come from. Like if they want to be a part of our culture, like bring them in, teach them the right ways, teach them how to be, teach them how to carry our culture. Because if we don't teach them, then they only have what they can find out on the internet most of the time, right? And so if we can set the expectation for anybody visiting us, like this is the Hawaiian culture, right? This is how we carry ourselves. This is what we do. This is the principles we stand on, and hand it off and like take that with your life. Wherever you go, you'll have that side of being Hawaiian with you. And I think we need to be the first like face that they see and set expectations of what to expect and how to treat people like in Hawaii or just other locals.
Well said, Brother Saui. You could take us out with letting people know where to reach you, or maybe even that event for Corey if you want to have that.
Yeah. So fundraiser for Corey Kamaka will be November 22nd. It is from 9 p.m. to 12 a.m. at DB Grill in Kapolei. There's a $10 cover charge, but we're also doing a lot of raffles. So every single raffle prize there has been donated by people in the community reaching out to other businesses. And so the raffles proceeds will go straight to the Kamaka family. And I think we have other things that will be going on there as well besides that. But yeah, come out, support the family. Not a lot of people are fans of like GoFundMe. And so this is just another way of supporting them. And like, I know Corey would definitely rather give something back if something he's receiving. And so definitely trying to live up to his memory and support his family in this time of need.
Thank you, brother. Thank you so much for watching this interview. If anything in this video made you feel something, please share this video with someone you think would feel the same way. This channel is a product of two brothers born and raised in Hawaii, using our skills, our story, and our growing network to unleash our creativity. For us, being creative isn't optional. It's a duty. We've got some incredible interviews and creative projects coming up, so be sure to subscribe so you don't miss what's coming next. Thank you so much for your support. It means the world to us. Hope to see you in the next one.